Welcome back to Market Day Report. I'm Scott Schulte, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. Getting ready to dig into these markets here. Why don't we look at corn right away? It's the biggest one we've got. That corn table brought to us by Bar Charts. That's September corn higher by 6.5 cents at 553.5, but we're about 4 cents off of the highs in Sep. We're 9 cents higher in December at 554.25, about 3 cents off the highs in Dece as well. Why don't we stroll on over to that soybean market, see what the soybean table's got for us. We're easier today, but not a lot. I mean, this has been all over the place, actually. We're 3/4 cents lower in August at 14.14 even, which is 7 cents off the highs and 10 cents off the low. So right in the middle of the day's range here. 3 1/4 cents lower in Sep at 13.52 1/4, which is much the same in the middle. And then November new crop beans, 3/4 cents lower at 13.48.5. which is also in the middle of the day's range. How about wheat? The wheat, Chicago wheat, 18 3/4 cents higher in Sep for a last trade of 722.5. December up 19 1/4 at 732.25, which is about 6 cents off the highs there in wheat. Why don't we take a look at hard red wheat in Kansas City? Kansas City, here we come. 23 cents higher in September at 686.25, which is about 7 cents off the highs there in Sep. And December is up 23 cents as well at 707.25, off 6.5 cents as well in that Dece contract. Why don't we move on over to Minneapolis and the spring wheat there, up 11 3/4 cents last in Sep at 916.5. December up 14 1/4 cents at 905.25, 3 1/4 cents off the highs there. I'd like to bring in via Skype our guest Todd Horowitz from Bubba Trading. Todd, we go back a long time. We've seen these markets before. You're right. It is the summertime. You know, as my father would say, there's a word in the English language for the type of weather that we're having right now. And I said, well, what's that, Dad? He said, it's called summer. Okay. So we should not be shocked by hot, dry temperatures but although this year it's been a little bit more prolonged, what we should be shocked by is 32 degrees and snowing in this time of year. So anyway, that aside, give me your take on, we were talking about it over the break. What do you reckon is happening over here in these grain and oilseed markets?
Well, Scott, look, I think we just have, summer trade, which is very light and illiquid. We don't have the same liquidity this time of year, and there's too many folks trying to position themselves on one side or the other. And I think that's what you're seeing. I mean, the action in the grain markets, especially soybeans, I mean, they've been on both sides of unchanged, back and forth, and you look at it for a second, try to get a price. Next thing you know, it's a new price. And, this is very common, and as your father said, in summer, because this is the kind of action you can expect when you have very light trading volumes and people are searching for a reason to make a trade, when the best thing to do is to kind of observe these markets and then put yourself in the best position after that.
And, another thing to bring up quickly, Todd, is that a lot of the investors and maybe even the viewers and listeners out there, they might know this, maybe they don't, but just in case they do or don't, August is a quiet time of year around the world. It's when Europe takes time off. But when you go to these investment banks that have trading desks, and there's a grain division, there's an equity division, and an interest rate division, right? Those are the three divisions basically. But a lot of times that first string grain trader or even the second string grain trader, they'll be gone during this month, or at least 2 solid weeks of it, and the other guy will take two weeks. So that, I also think, lends to the fact that we have less volume, higher volatility, and I think that is exactly what we're seeing today. Would you say the same?
I agree 100%. In fact, I go back to when you and I were both on the floor together. A lot of times in these kind of markets, if a guy was there trading, they might walk out of the pit right now because it's so thin that they don't want to get caught or get run over on either side of the market. I think that is what you're watching on a pretty consistent basis daily here.
Yeah, it's a trap you don't have to be in. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, Todd. We'll be right back after this. We'll talk livestock with Todd Horowitz. Welcome back to Market Day Report. I'm Scott Schulte. I am the Cow Guy. Most people know me as the Cow Guy. They don't even know my name's Scott Schulte, and I like it that way, actually, believe it or not, because if they know my name, then that's not good. But anyway, moving right along, we've got Todd Horowitz with us. We'll bring him in a minute. I want to go through these cattle, the cattle tables here, live cattle first, see what we've got as far as trade goes, and I can tell you right away that there's not a lot going on. We're up 20 cents in August at 122.27. October's up a dime. December's up 25 cents at 132.90. That'll give you an idea if you're driving about where we're at. How about the feeder cattle? They're up today too, but just small, steady better, I would say. 37 cents higher in August at 158.55. September would be up 62 cents at 162.42, and October up 77 cents. How about lean hogs? I think they're posting better gains than the other two, and they are. $1.17 higher in August at 107.37. October is at 162, up 162 at 89.65, and then December up an even $1.50 at 83.15. Let's bring back in Todd Horwitz from Bubba Trading. Todd's joining us from Las Vegas. Todd, one big order would really move the markets right now, don't you think? I mean, that's a recipe for disaster, not disaster, but we got to be careful about reading too much into this. And I said this, I think the last time you and I spoke, a lot of the young traders will follow these markets tick by tick, right? And they'll be very diligent. And a lot of times that can be bad because a lot of times it's just white noise and you kind of have to rise above it and not get caught up in the little day-to-day machinations when you're really looking for a big move, a percentage point move, like we've had in crude oil, down 4.5% today, right? But when these markets are moving sideways, you can get caught up and just chop yourself to death. Would you agree?
100%, Scott. Look, I tell people all the time, if you want to learn how to lose $5,000 in a $1,000 range, I can teach you. It's a very tough, trying situation here. And remember, as you said, we are going for the big hit when we make a position like that. To follow tick for tick, you get what we call vacuum kind of moves, where an order of not huge size, but sizable for what's trading now. And it moves the markets gigantic because there's nobody to stop it in the way. And I give you two examples. If you ever watch charts, look at 4-minute charts. At 6 a.m. this morning on the equity indexes, and then look once again at about 9 a.m., you're going to see giant moves out of nowhere that immediately reverted back to mean. But you could have gotten stopped out if you're trying to be too cute. You have to let these markets trade and not put yourself in jeopardy and not try to be tick for tick, especially now.
Right. It just brings to mind that old adage my father used to say to me is, you know how to make $1 million in these markets right now? And I'd say, no, what? He'd say, start with 2 million, right? Because it's going to eat you alive and you'll end up with only half of what you started with.
That's the issue in these markets. Look, as I said, I love the markets. I think agriculture looks great. However, we do have that overhang, and I know you don't agree, and I don't think it's going to happen either, but that is an overhang because I think there's some other situations at play here besides just the COVID. And there's a lot of things happening. But I think overall, we look in really good shape, but we still are in August, as you said, vacation time for most.
All righty. Well, you can go on vacation. You're done with us here. I'll let you go. But that's Todd Horwitz from Bubba Trading. Thanks very much for joining us today, Todd. And now it's my chance to hand it over to Tammy.